So welcome. If we haven't met yet, my name is Kevin Ross. I'm the Pacific Northwest District Chair. The purpose of tonight is to let everybody across the Pacific Northwest District know the basic schedule for the year and some of the upcoming events. We are going to fly through this fairly quickly since a lot of this is written down, and I'll show you where the slides are here in just a couple of minutes. The logistics of this, if you've never been on one of these before, your microphone is muted by default. There are too many people on here for us to all have our microphones on. If you do end up wanting to ask a question, you can either use the questions box. It's located on the GoToMeeting controls. If you, we may try and unmute you just because it's really boring listening to me talk the entire time. We sort of watch for questions and we'll answer some of them in mass if you want. The slides for this are already available. They're on the firstwa.org website. If you go to the programs menu, First Robotics Competition, and then click on the webinars, you'll find a PDF of the slides for tonight. Okay, with us tonight we have a number of esteemed panelists, including Aaron McCallum, who is the president of Washington First Robotics and our chief moneymaker and getter. Debbie Kerr.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, hello, yes. Debbie Kerr is joining us from what appears to be a concert, a piano concert in somewhere. I'm sure she's with her children. But she is one of the senior mentors for Oregon. Adrienne Riney, who is one of our staff people for Washington First Robotics. She is actually in Corvallis, Oregon tonight, down checking out some issues with the venues down there and scoping some stuff out for us. Susan Martucci, who is the Pacific Northwest District lead or volunteer manager, head volunteer manager, and also one of our staff people, is currently on an airplane somewhere over Tennessee. And we're expecting a couple others to show up. We're hoping that Cindy LeBeau from Oregon would, for the regional director, should be here.
I'm here.
Oh, you are here?
Do you hear me?
Yes,
yeah,
I can.
I just can't, for some reason, I'm not able to get on the computer, but I'm here by phone.
Oh, well, outstanding. Well, welcome. All right.
Thank you.
So I will probably end up doing most of the yakking, but they will be jumping in from time to time as well. The agenda for tonight, we're going to talk a bit about volunteering. It's really important for us. We're going to talk about the list of important dates, and it turns out that'll be a majority of tonight's conversation. I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of what's on the calendar in terms of deadlines and things that you probably need to plan for with your team. We're going to talk a little bit about FTC. We're going to talk more specifically about important dates having to do with the leadership camps, both here and in Oregon. We're going to talk about grants. We're going to talk about the various girls' generation and side events that are going on. We'll talk about workshops that we've got planned, and then we'll go through the season. And then, really important to everybody is we would like to help you all with your fundraising. So we have some resources for you for that. So that's sort of the agenda. I'm really going to try and get through this in an hour. I say that every time, but we'll see what happens. All right. Well, before we start, I just wanted to let you know that we actually have a legal name now, a legal entity of Pacific Northwest First. It is a sort of a joint venture between Oregon First Robotics and Washington First Robotics. If you would like, you can also go ahead and write checks to PNW First. So eventually, this is part of our longer-term strategy of organizing the district. So anyway, we're excited about that, and stay tuned. Things will be moving along in those directions over the next few hours. The other thing I wanted to make sure, and this has to do with volunteering, you know, FIRST is actually much more than just a robotics program. This is sort of an enormous community that we have established across the entire Pacific Northwest. the key to getting students really interested in really pursuing STEM doesn't revolve around doing a single thing on a single day, or even a couple of things during the year. We've sort of we have established a very strong community of people who are all interested in the same thing. So our goal is to take the inspiration that they derive from the events that we're holding and the tasks that we give them, and turn that into aspiration. And that takes a long time commitment. That's a long burn. It's a multi-year project, and it involves us making sure that our community stays good and strong, and not only has outstanding students heading off to college, but also outstanding students coming up as they progress through their school careers. So we have 4 programs in FIRST: Junior First LEGO League, First LEGO League, First Tech Challenge, First Robotics Competition. And the FRC, which the majority of you are, sort of holds a very important part. The FRC teams are really the leaders in the entire FIRST community. They are the most organized and always the driving force behind a lot of activities. So my point for this is that we really want you to be stewards for the program, and really want you to be involved in the community outreach events that are going on in your area. And more importantly, if there aren't community outreach events happening in your area, that is a prime place for your students to get out and shine. They're doing amazing things as a team, and every time that you're able to get your students out in front of the public and telling the world about what it is they're doing, it will strengthen your students. It will give them the confidence to feel like they are doing something special, because they are, and being a part of that community. So, and a big part of this is volunteering, and so your team really should be considering how it is that you're going to help support the entire FIRST ecosystem by contributing both students and mentors as volunteers for the other programs. So if you're interested, you should be interested, contact ORTOP at ortop.org about the FLL and FTC programs, or Washington First Robotics about those programs as well, to find out what events are in your area. And you'll see us occasionally sending out emails about our need for volunteers, especially adult judges. That's a huge issue with FLL and FTC. We really appreciate all the efforts that you can do to make that happen. Okay, there was my spiel, and I'm very serious about this. This is really an important part of the FIRST community. All of these students, all of these younger students are the feeders for your program, so that's part of your role, is to help steward that. Okay, now let's hit the calendar. There's a lot to go through here. Some of them I'll go into detail. Some of them you're just going to have to help yourself go find more information about these. There is a lot of stuff on here. I sort of listed these in order. There's about 2 pages of these. So if you're thinking about starting a First Tech Challenge team and you're in Washington State, there is an iGrant. It is still available. The official closing date is 9/18/2014, which is, I believe, is next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. Do not plan on turning that grant in on the 18th. The way the building use grants for iGrants work, you have to get it in a day or 2 before, so that your building administrator can approve the grant. So this is something that, if you're thinking about doing FTC, please have at it. The next big things on the list for FRC are the leadership camp in Auburn. I've got a slide about that here in a little bit, but it'll be a great event for your team to come talk about leadership issues. And then, of course, registration for your first district event is going to happen on 9/25, so September 25th. Heads up, you should be going in and checking your TIMS account. There are changes to how the Youth Protection Program operates this year. You will have to get all of the team mentors will end up needing to get screened. It's an online process. It's really simple, but it's a little fiddly to get your way through the form. At least 2 mentors on every team need to pass before you'll be allowed to register. So this is really important that you take the time now to get online, log into your Tim's account, make sure that you've got everything ready to go for September 25th. Okay? I'm going to give everybody the big hint. There is the form is going to ask you for your Social Security number. I highly recommend you don't give your Social Security number. There's a small checkbox under it that says no SSN. You are not lying. You're telling them that you are not going to give them your Social Security number. So if it doesn't bother you to give it to them, that's fine. But if that becomes a stumbling block for anybody, it is not required that you give them that number. So I think that you can. If you can get your main and alternate mentors through that process sometime in the next week or so, that would be to your benefit. Okay. Great question. Do teams need to pay before registering for districts? No, actually you won't need to pay until November 24th, Brian. So you should be in good shape. Okay. So.
And Kevin, you might want to note that that's earlier than in the past.
Yes, it is definitely earlier than the past. We've always done it on the first Friday of December. They have moved that back substantially. The reason is because of the kickoff date being the 3rd. We've always had issues getting the kits delivered properly. Yeah. So we're paying a little bit earlier, and the kits will get shipped earlier so that we're sure that we've got everybody's kit on time. So I talked about the leadership camp. There's another leadership camp in Oregon that's called the Business Roundtable. I'm going to see if Willie is here. Willie, I'm going to turn your microphone on. So hopefully it isn't too loud. Here we go. Hi, Willie. Are you there?
Hi, Kevin. Can you hear?
Hi. If you can speak up just a little bit, can you? I didn't have a lot of information about the Business Roundtable. Do you have any extra info on it?
Chris is online. He can talk about that. We also have another event that's coming up. He can talk. Can you unmute to him?
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Business Roundtable is a special event we cooked up a few years ago. That really is geared towards business members of the team. So we talk about fundraising and public relations and organizational techniques for business teams. And it's a roundtable format. So we have short presentations and lots of time for discussion and networking. So it's great for teams that want to meet each other, share ideas, and build some connections.
Outstanding. So, and this is very similar in sounding and content to what we would call the leadership camp up here. So, I assume that you would have room for Washington teams if they wanted to come down?
Oh, the more the merrier. It's in a corporate headquarters, so we do have a capacity of about 40 people. But by all means, we'll put more information out there. But for now, you can plan. The information, I think, was on your last newsletter as far as location, and we'll put a contact out there for signing up.
Okay, and I just remembered I actually did make a slide for this later, so I have a little bit more info about this later. Thank you so much, Chris and Willie. I'm going to go ahead and mute you guys again. And all right. The leadership camp in Auburn is going to be done in a high school, so there's quite a bit more room. And I think I have another slide about this later. Okay, so the next date is now you're going to register for your first event on September 25th. You're going to register for your second event on the 9th of October. Same sort of thing. It's normally first come, first served, and you have the option of getting yourself onto a wait list if you need to. On 10/16, if you're in Washington State, I-grants are due, and I'll talk a little bit more about grants here in a little while. The Pacific Northwest is blessed to have a couple of events that are geared towards getting more girls involved. So the Girls' Generation events are designed to let the girls come out and drive the robots and bringing in new and more girls onto your team. They're a lot of fun. It's a very low key and outstanding event for recruiting girls. So we highly recommend looking into that. You can find more details about the Girls' Generation Oregon event on the Oregon First website, and there's a link to the official sign up. The next day after that, the Rookie Rumble is going to also be in Portland. It is another bring in some more people sort of event, but boys and girls are both invited on Rookie Rumble. And again, you'll find more information about that on the Oregon First website. The following weekend on the 18th, we have a Girls' Generation event at Tahoma High School in Covington. I believe that signups are now available on the Washington First Robotics website at firstwa.org. Adrian, anything else we need to know about this?
Well, all the information is on the Washington First website. There is a link to the sign up. But there's still plenty of room for teams, and we're looking. It'll be at Tahoma Junior High again this year, which is where it was last year.
Okay.
I can't think of any information, but yeah, you can find out all the information on the First Law website.
Thank you. All right. On the 25th, First Fair is happening down in Gladstone. You can find more information about First Fair, which is for the Washington teams. That is the equivalent to what we used to call our workshops. It is a whole series of different topics, and there's information on the Oregon First website for that. But that's a most of the day event. Most of the day event on Saturday the 25th. Okay. On November 8th, we're planning our FRC workshops in Redmond, and we're also planning one at Central Washington University. You'll find both of these on our calendar. I just put the Redmond one up today, and it's very similar to First Fair. We're going to be talking about and helping to train new people and old people on how to do things and answer as many questions as we can. And I got a slide coming up about that a little bit later. On November 15th, Mentor Madness is going to be an event that's being held, is going to be held at Telecom Junior High in Bellevue. This is an interesting event that was talked about, and the Sammamish High School team, the Robototes 2412, has agreed to put this on. The mentors are the ones driving the robots, and the students will be the coaches, referees, and all of the other positions. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun. We can actually now go, most of us mentors stand in the background and tell you what you should have done. I think this is going to be a great deal of fun to watch the mentors actually go out and drive one of these robots. I have to admit, I've been doing this for about 15 years now, and I think I've maybe driven the robots maybe 6 or 7 times, and never, of course, in a competition. So I think it'll be a great deal of fun. Details about that are on the Washington First Robotics website, firstwa.org. The important date shift for everybody is that the payments for your events are now due on 11/24/14, and so that is much earlier than prior years. It's also the last day of registration for your first and second events. Hopefully, you will be done way ahead of that. I'm also going to give you a heads up. Aaron, did we get approval from FIRST to do what we were talking about doing?
In terms of registration coming through Pacific Northwest FIRST, yes.
Okay. This is the reason for what I'm about to tell you could be the subject of a whole hour-long discussion, and eventually will be. suffice it to say that we're going to do registration payments a little differently this year. You are actually, instead of sending your checks to US First, you're going to be sending your checks to PNW First at an address in Kent, and we'll get all of the payment information out to you before the first registration date. The reason for this has to do with being able to track where the funds are going. It's a long, complicated subject, but suffice it to say that we will be accepting your payments and dealing with First directly on those, and we'll put the rest of that discussion off for another time. Okay, so irrespective of what you're going to end up seeing on the First website in terms of how to pay for things, we will be sending out information that is going to supersede that. All right. And that we'll get that done before the 25th of this month, so that everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
All right. Great. On so the 24th registration closes. On the 11th, third play registration's open, and we'll talk about how much room that we have for third plays coming up here. When I talk about the schedule, that'll be in a few slides from now. The third play registrations will be closing on the 30th of December. So that's your window for picking your third plays. We may change how we allocate third plays, and I will. I have a meeting with First about this tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. The third plays, we may end up doing a lottery system because we may not have enough third play positions to accommodate everyone. So more details about that coming up. Also on December 20th, which is another Saturday, Catlin Gable has an awesome event called Bunny Bots, and Bunny Bots is it's sort of an alternate game. The intent of Bunny Bots is really great. It's a chance for your team to come up with a design and build something pre-season and get out there and compete with it. It's been highly successful over the years. You can check out more information on that. You can find a link for that on OregonFirst.org and take a look. So I'm getting Cindy. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, finally got my computer working.
Oh, you did? Awesome. Do you not see the little green mute button? I'll let you mute yourself.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Woo-hoo.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin, while we're we had somebody asking questions about the I-grant.
Yes, I have a whole page dedicated to that in just a minute.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, and then, of course, kickoff day is going to be January 3rd of 2015. And so that will be bright and early Saturday morning, as always. We have all of the usual kickoff spots, although it's unclear to me whether we have a kickoff location in Wapato. Adrian, have you heard anything?
Chris Beyruti is working on it. We don't have a definitive answer yet.
Okay, cool. All right, so but we'll have events in Spokane, Mount Lake Terrace. It'll be at Auburn Mountain View this year, by the way, instead of Auburn High School. Auburn High School is going through a major renovation, so that facility won't be available. And then in Portland, I'm going to have either Diana or Deb. Actually, it's going to need to be Diana. Hi, Diana. Can you unmute yourself? You there?
Hi, guys.
How are you?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep. Hey, where's kickoff in Oregon this year?
It's going to be at University of Portland, the same place that we had it last year.
Outstanding. And it'll be bright and early 7 a.m.-ish?
That's right, yeah. And we'll send out details. We're actually going tomorrow to go and check it out and make sure everything's going to work the same as last year. So we'll be sending out information about that soon, but it'll be very similar to last year.
All right. Outstanding. Well, thank you so much for that. All right. So let me head off to, I've got a couple of slides that have a little bit more details on a few things. first of all, if your team is looking for something to do with new students or with students who are itching to build something, First Tech Challenge is a great program for that. And both Washington and Oregon have huge First Tech Challenge communities, and we'd love to have you join us. It's relatively inexpensive if you're used to doing FRC, and it's just a great program all around. So, and we're going to point out that for the Washington teams, there is an I-grant available if you're a public school. It's I-grant 606, and it is due on 9/18/14. And there's I'm not sure what the status of the rookie grants are. And
US First is still taking applications, so any rookie teams for FTC, encourage you to visit the US First website, and if you have any questions, feel free to either contact Cindy or myself. This is Erin.
all right, thank you, Erin. Hey, Diana, I'm being asked if there's a kickoff at OSU as well. Is that still the case? Do you know? Don't forget to unmute yourself. There you go.
I don't know. Cindy or Debbie, does anybody know if that's happening yet?
Debbie dropped off. Actually, let me see if Doug's here. I don't see Doug.
I don't think Doug is here. I can ask him tomorrow, and we can email that out to teams and add it to the calendar.
So my guess is that they're probably, if there was one last year, they're probably planning on doing it again this year. I'm now starting to tell you things I actually don't know. So if you can, you'll be able to, when you register your team, you'll be able to pick a kickoff, and it should be listed. But I apologize, I am not aware if they're doing it or not for sure. First Force is holding a kickoff at OSU, and Sal said that. Oh, and Debbie is also saying, yes, there is one. Okay, so yes, there is a kickoff at OSU. All right, great. And Debbie just returned, so I just made her a presenter again. So yay. Okay. So Debbie, you're back. You can play with your own muting thing. All right. The leadership camp. And hey, Erin, can you turn your volume down just a little bit?
Yes.
Thank you. So leadership camp, this is a slide dedicated to what's happening on the 27th. And also it's probably very similar in format to what they're going to do in Oregon. For the leadership camp, it's the first big event for all of the FRC teams. Washington and Oregon are invited to attend. We are going to talk about team leadership and fundraising and volunteering and ways that you can structure your team better. And so we would very, very much encourage you to attend either this event or the event in Oregon, the Business Roundtable. They're probably likely to cover very similar topics. We have a sign-up available on the Washington First Robotics website for the Auburn Mountain View event.
Kevin, I'm sorry to interrupt. Kevin, I don't think your slides are showing. I was trying to find them, and I'm getting messages as well. I think when you made Debbie a presenter, I think Debbie is actually I think it's showing, I don't know, we're only seeing the main login.
Thank you. Thank you. I apologize. I know what I did. I made her a presenter, but I should have made her a panelist. There we go. My slides back?
Yes.
Yes, they're back.
There we go. Okay, leadership camp. So if you go to our website, and allow me to, sorry, I was uploading the slides a minute ago, so let me get it to the point where you see the same thing you do. Okay, if you're interested in the leadership camp, all of our upcoming events, the next 10 things on the calendar are always listed down here at the bottom. And here's the leadership camp. And it's got the address of where and when, and you can book and let us know how many people are coming. We'd appreciate it. This doesn't cost anything. It'll be run from about 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And so anyway, that's where you find these things. You can also always find our master calendar is under events, and you can find all of the things that we've got scheduled. The blue things are for FRC, the red things are FLL, and the gold things are for FTC. So there's a we have what you would call a very busy schedule this year. There's 153 things on our calendar, so sorting through it can be a pain sometimes. All right, so there you go. That's how you sign up for the leadership camp. And I believe the Business Roundtable, same thing. Keep an eye on OregonFirst.org for more details. And I'm hoping, and actually I'm about to go pester Chris Steiner one more time. Chris, is there a public place for people to sign up? I unmuted you, by the way, and you're not there. He's not there. Oh, he muted himself. Oh, well, anyway. Okay, so keep an eye on Oregon First. They'll let you know what's going on there. Off to the next slide. So, whoops, did I miss the slide? No, I didn't. Okay, so district registrations, that's the next thing that happens on the 25th. So, each of our venues this year is going to hold 36 teams. Some of them are going to fill very quickly. So you'll probably want to peruse the list a little bit and come up with a couple of different scenarios that your team could accommodate. Okay. Here's the math. Last year we had 153 teams and we ran 10 events and we were undersubscribed on all of them. This year, we're going to run 9 events, which is enough capacity for 162 teams with 36 teams each. And so depending on our program growth, we will either have 9 or 10 events. So we're going to start out the year planning for 9. And so what that means is that these events are all going to get pretty full pretty quickly. So if it is the case that we end up with a 10th event, we will let everybody know and we'll allow you all to move around. And we'll come up with a way for doing that. All right? So that is sort of the current game plan. So the registrations are going to open on the 25th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or yeah, it should be Pacific Standard Time. And then second selection is going to be opened up on the 9th. Okay? Third play registrations will be on the 11th, but we're going to stay tuned for third play registration instructions. I'm like I said, I'm meeting with First and the other districts tomorrow at 10, and we're haggling through ways of handling the administrative of that. Okay. And grants. Oregon Department of Education grants were given away last May. Congratulations to everybody who got one. I think it's awesome that both states are actually stepping up in a big way and helping out with that. OSPI, which is the Washington State equivalent of ODE, there are 2 grants still available. One is the 606 package for FTC, and the other one is iGrant package 424. That package is due for FRC. The package is due on the 16th of October. There is more money available this year than we've had in the past. If you are a public school, you should apply, and please do. We would hate to leave any money on the table. So keep an eye out for that. Now, there were some questions about how to access that. I apologize. Somehow we ended up leaving this grants page up, and we should have taken this down. This grants page is going to point you at incorrect information. You'll notice all the dates, and this is the wrong season. I'm really sorry about that. Somebody mentioned that today, and I feel embarrassed, but there you go. If you are looking for the OSPI grant stuff, So you're looking for, you can just search in Google or Bing, OSPI number 424, but you want to put in 2014 or you'll get the wrong year. Oh, and I forgot to use the word iGrant. iGrant. And so here are the iGrants and the inventory forms, and it is a state competitive grant. And if you, it's down towards the bottom. It was, there it is. It's right down here at the bottom. So here's all of the grant details for this year, including the end dates and such. Once again, these are building use grants. For those of you who know what that is, if you don't know what that is, that means that you do need to turn this in before this date so that your principal can approve it. I would definitely get this in by Monday or Tuesday the 14th, and then as soon as you submit it, I would go and sit in your principal's office until they approve it. There were a few people who did not get it in time last year, and we felt really bad about that. Okay.
One other thing that I would mention on iGrants, for those of you that are really pressed for time, circle back with your district, either CTE director or financial office, because they have the specific link to your district, and just kind of work in partnership. Many districts have grant writers who can facilitate it, and if there are any questions, this is Erin, just let me know, and I'm happy to work with you individually to make sure that you can get this request in. It's a great opportunity that will help you a lot on your budget for this coming year.
Okay. We believe the Boeing mentor grants are available, and this website that you're seeing right there is an internal Boeing website. Please check that out. I'm not sure if Darren is on the phone. Let's see, Darren. No Darren tonight. Normally Darren G is the point person for that at Boeing. He's one of our, we'll call him one of our guys. He's MC and lead robot inspector at several events. So it's good to have an inside guy taking lead on that. So he can help answer any questions. Washington First Robotics and Aaron and I were not actually involved in the administration of the grant at all, other than, so we're just going to point you at that page. Okay. NASA, the NASA grants are open now. I did not check the application deadline, but you should check into that. This is a great grant for new teams and second-year teams. And honestly, if you're struggling as a third or fourth-year team with funding, the grant application is not that long, and they occasionally have more. They occasionally are undersubscribed, and I've seen fourth-year teams get grants. So it is an option for you. We highly recommend you doing that. Okay. If you're having troubles with your fundraising, and the only way we can help you is if you let us know. So please, if you're having issues with fundraising, let Erin at firstlaw.org or Cindy LeBeau, and I believe I spelled Cindy's email address incorrectly.
Yes, just take out the first U.
Take out the first U. Sorry about that. So that would be Cindy LeBeau, CLEBEAU at usfirst.org. Bah, butchered that. Ooh. All right. And we don't have a pile of money sitting around, unfortunately, but between Erin and Cindy, there's a lot of knowledge about how to approach people and how to and places where you may be able to go find money. And we're going to talk. We've got some more slides on fundraising towards the end of the presentation tonight. Okay, that's probably all. Beat the grants to death there. The November workshops in Washington State. I have to delegate this to somebody. Adrian and the staff and I are are willing to help out wherever we can, but honestly, we kind of need some teams to take over doing the workshops in Washington State. It's a lot of fun. It's a fair amount of organization. It's not terribly difficult. There are lots of people willing to help and lots of people willing to help do it, but that particular time of year gets really busy for me, and I'm just not able to give it my best effort. So I need somebody to help take that over as an organizer. And we have a venue, and we have lots of resources that we can throw at you, but we just need somebody else to take over the organizing of it. If you're interested, please email me, kevinro@firstwa.org. The usual workshop that we do up here has about 800 people at it. In the past, we've done these in high schools. We've had as many as 20 workshop sessions happening at a time. We're hoping that, we're pretty sure and hoping that Microsoft is going to host us this year, and they have some bigger rooms, so we may not need to run so many things at once. Details are still being worked out. If you're interested in helping out with that, we're going to have an entirely separate meeting on getting that organized. So I really appreciate that. All right? Okay, so the competition season. I left out from kickoff till bag and tag. Bag and tag this year, February 17th. The competitions are going to start the following week, so that'll be week 1 in First Words, and we're going to do weeks 1 through 5. Last year we did weeks 1 through 6, and then we had the championship week 7. By very, very popular demand, we were asked to put some time between the district championship and the World Championships, that's fine. So we'll be running two events for most of the weekends, and I'll show you that schedule here in just a sec. Okay. Here we go. Next screen. So here are where the events are currently planned, and there are some oddness. There are some slight differences this year. First, we have the blue field and the red field, just like we did last year. They'll be running. Everybody will be starting week 1. Oregon City will be week 1. Notice that the Spokane event is now at West Valley High School. It's east of Spokane. I don't know why it's called the West Valley, but that's okay. The other thing is that we've got a couple of events that are going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You'll show up Friday night and play Saturday and Sunday, and that just is purely the scheduling of the schools. We needed to make a few accommodations. So that is the plan for Glacier Peak and Mount Vernon. Those will be Saturday, Sunday events. You'll notice that week 4 we have an if needed on the Shorewood event in Seattle. We're currently trying to do 9 events. Shorewood has we're still scheduling with them and working things out, but we're only going to use that week 4 event in the event that we've got a shortage of capacity. All right. The OSU Corvallis event, we're going to call that the Corvallis event for a moment. So the things that may change, Shorewood and the exact location of the event in the Corvallis area. There's some issues getting into Gill this year that have not been resolved yet. And then the district championships this year will be at Eastern Washington University in Cheney, Washington, which is just outside of Spokane. Okay? There is not an event in Portland this year. All right. So we will take 64 teams, by the way, at the championships. Oh, God, my spelling's atrocious today. but it looks good. So there'll be 64 teams there, and we are still have not heard from FIRST what our official capacity is for sending teams to St. Louis, but it sounds like it may be going up to 30 instead of 6. We sent 24 last year. We just have to wait. Let me just say it's likely to go up from last year to some number. I don't know what that number is. We're still, that'll be part of the meeting that we're going to have tomorrow. Okay. Great question from Kim Herzog. Are there enough hotel rooms in Cheney for the championships? There are enough hotel rooms within a reasonable drive of Cheney. Yes. Exactly in Cheney? No. There's the calculation for all of this is long and complex, and it's something that I swear we can have yet another hour-long meeting on. But there are plenty of hotels within about a 10 or 15-minute drive of Cheney. Out by the airport, there's a half dozen, and it turns out Cheney is close enough to Spokane. It's like driving from Redmond to Bellevue on a reasonable day. Okay. Okay. So where will the events be? So here's that map. Luke has asked, why is the district championship in Eastern Washington instead of Portland? There are about 15 things that went into the decision of that. This was actually part of the original plan that we've been talking about since we first started talking about doing districts. Was we would move the championship around. Everything that you're going to tell me about why it should be in Portland applies to Seattle and Spokane as well. Every good reason that it should be in Portland, every good reason that it should be in Seattle is the same reason it should be in Spokane. So that was the plan from when we started planning out the districts. We will come back to Portland. We'll probably actually be back in Portland next year. We think I'm not committing to that, depending on whether the venue is available. And at some point, we'll also be in Seattle. So that is the reasoning. So, okay. Sorry, that was answering a question from Luke. All right. So hopefully, let me reiterate, and we'll. So there is the basic schedule that you need to be aware of. This schedule is going to be the same thing you're going to find in Tim's when you go to register. These slides, again, are up on our website, and you're welcome to take a look at them. But these are sort of the events that you'll be choosing from. Now, the one thing that I'll give you a heads up on is if we end up adding Shorewood, it probably is not going to be a decision on that. Probably won't be made until a little bit later in the registration season. And so we will work with everybody to rebalance as needed to accommodate the extra teams. Part of this has to do with part of the calculation is how many third plays do we actually need. Last year we had 18. I think, was it Adrian? Was it 18 or 21 teams third plays? Do you remember? She's not listening.
I thought it was 22.
Oh, sorry, I said I believe it was 18 that did have a third play. Okay,
so the next magic number that we would have to hit from doing 9 events to 10 events is we would need to add another 36 plays in order to make the finances work out. So we're willing to do that if we can come up with either enough teams to get about half of an event, plus we could add additional third plays. So one of the hard parts about doing all the planning for all of the first events is have no idea who is we have no idea who is going to register until it's really, really late in the game. So this is what we know at the moment. There may be a minor change to that a little bit later. So hopefully you can bear with us on that. All right? Any other questions? So we're about to wander off into the fundraising world, which is really important to everybody. But I just wanted to make sure that have we got the questions having to do with the calendar and the schedule? Any other questions? Doesn't look like it. All right. So with that, funding a team is, as you all know, can be a lot of work. Some of us are better at it than others. Just to give you a little history, we in Washington State in 2000, I think it was 2002 or 3, I started like 18 teams, or 16 or 18 teams. We got the number up there. Almost none of those teams exist anymore. And the reason is that we ended up hiring, or I ended up recruiting a whole bunch of really great robotics type people. And those really great robotics type people were mostly engineers. And most of those engineers, and I'm one of them, we totally suck at fundraising. We're not good at it. And so this is one of those problems that FIRST teams have faced for a long time. So my hair is starting to turn gray, the skill set, one of the biggest skill sets that you need to run an FRC team is somebody to help do the funding and the business management. And that is something that we need to take very seriously. So we have really lucked out. We ended up with Aaron and Cindy, who are very, very good at the whole fundraising thing. And so I'm going to turn this over now to Erin McCallum, the president of Washington First Robotics, and she's going to go over at a very high level some things that you can do with fundraising. Erin?
Great. Thanks, Kevin. And I beg to differ. I think every engineer has the ability to be a great fundraiser. So I think Cindy's and my challenge to all of you, not just engineers, but teachers and people, there are very few people in the world that actually say they're good at fundraising. So we can certainly help. So couple of things, and I know FRC mentors in particular, I think spend a lot of time thinking about how are we going to make a budget actually work. And as what Kevin mentioned, some teams are stronger at fundraising than others, but both Cindy and I have made it a very focused priority of ours to help support and raise funds for teams. So over the summer, we have spent and have worked with about 6 or 7 teams, FRC teams, across the Pacific Northwest region in training them on how to ask for money. And that invitation is open to all of you on this evening's call, as well as all teams that are not able to join us, because there are a lot of students in your teams that are very interested in the business side of FIRST. Fundraising is a component of that. So we will work with you in identifying prospects, how to ask, and then how to thank individuals and foundations and companies. So if you are interested, a fundraising training is about 60, not more than 90 minutes. We can do it through GoToMeeting, or we can certainly work with you one-on-one if you are in the South King County area and want to take a road trip to our field house. Happy to help facilitate. We're also going to do some of this at our upcoming leadership camps and activities. So Kevin, would you mind advancing the next slide? Okay, so 3 key points that I want to touch upon is, again, we support teams. So a lot of funders that we have been visiting with over the last year really want to support teams, and they are under the assumption that when teams are out asking for funding, those funds are ultimately helping cover some of the competitions that go on across the district level. And while some of your dollars do help cover the competitions, we are actually helping to underwrite or provide stipends to cover those great competitions. The second bullet point that I would really try to emphasize, and for all of you, I'm sure you can appreciate this, but a lot of funders are asking us to help coordinate some of the fundraising requests, and rather than having multiple teams ask for $1,000 or $2,500 or somewhere in between, it would help if we as a community came and asked for a $30,000 request or a $50,000 request to help support multiple teams. So we don't necessarily want to do the work for you, but we really want to be your partner in coordinating and thoughtfully thinking about how to build larger requests. I was with a family foundation earlier this week, happens to be in the Pierce County area in Washington State. They're very interested in supporting teams in Pierce County, and I know in previous years some of our teams have approached that family foundation and they have declined, not because they don't believe in FIRST and not because they don't believe in the kids and the program. It was because they wanted to see a joint approach. And after that meeting on Monday, we got the signal to approach and formally write that grant to support up to as many as 20 teams in Pierce County, which is fantastic news. So keep that in mind and how we can work really collaboratively. Open communication helps significantly on that. And then the last comment that I would make is students matter, and they are extremely powerful in terms of representation on fundraising. In our fundraising training, I often ask teams, what is your budget? Let me see your budget. What is your fundraising plan? And pretty much all of them smile, and then they look to the mentor. And I tease them and say, this really is not the mentor's responsibility. This is you as your team's responsibility. And very quickly, these kids get pretty excited about the possibility of putting together a plan, just as much as they put together a plan in the fabrication and building and the programming of the robot. This is what we need to do in fundraising. So Cindy and I look forward to working with all of you. Fundraising should not be the last thing you do. It should be the first. And, you know, this is kind of a teaser for the fall, but most definitely heading into the 2015-16 season, fundraising really has to be done pretty much May through October, early November, so you can get the funds ready to go and have a successful season. So look forward to working with all of you.
Erin, can I add something?
Yes.
So I just want to confirm what you were saying, that what I'm finding, especially as a new person coming in, is that I'm talking to these big companies and they used to give to teams, and they're telling me they don't do that anymore, but they still want to support FIRST. And I ask them why, and they say it's just an administrative nightmare. And they'd rather give, a lot of times, to a whole area, a whole bunch of teams, and let me handle the administrative stuff, instead of giving a bunch, like you're saying, to a lot of different teams separately. And so if we can work together, like you're saying, I'm really finding that they are really happy to give. A lot of times it's because they don't want to have this nightmare of the administrative stuff.
Yeah, that is correct. And the other thing, just so Oregon and Washington teams recognize that we're all in this together, there are a lot of companies that have a regional corporate footprint, so to speak, and they may have a budget that covers not only Oregon and Washington, but even, you know, our friends in Idaho or Montana and Alaska. And for us to be able to let them know that we are working very cohesively as a community, and that there are needs in Oregon, and there are needs in rural Washington, and needs in Northwest Washington, et cetera, it really builds a compelling case. And then I guess the final thing that I would say, and I was in Spokane the last 2 days, but a couple of people that I were with said, we don't like fundraising. And I said, fundraising is not, asking for money is less than 2% of the work. The other 98% is really about who you know and relationship building. Cindy and I can ask for the money, we can write the grants, we can put together the presentations, the speaking points, but your willingness to at least open a door or serve as an endorser about the value of this program and what you have learned as a mentor is so powerful, and that those kind of stories, as informal as they can be from you as a mentor and from the students, is really what helps get the funding for the team. So.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. I guess so. A couple other questions are coming up. The cost for the Pacific Northwest Championship, as it was last year, is $4,000 additional D if you qualify. So that's something that we need to plan for. And let me see, the registration got answered. I think I'll give it a last call for questions, and then we'll let you all go and have a nice evening, because I got a pork butt out in my barbecue that's been there for 12 hours. I think it's ready. Any other questions? Well, thank you all very much for doing this. I know that this was this is oh, Darren's actually here. Actually, we're going to pester Darren for just 1 second, because Darren G, I'm turning on your mic, Darren. Hey, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you
Okay,
hear me?
2 things. I put your name on in the slides. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Is this still accurate?
Sure.
Sure, he likes it. The other thing that so Darren is our Boeing guy. Do you know when the grants deadline is?
Yes, so it's opened up on this Monday, and it goes through October 5th, I believe. So as I tell teams, turn them in now, and the reason is because the application is a little more, there's a little more detailed questions on the AMP this year. So the basic 5 questions is now, I think it's like 8 to 10. So they're going to want demographics on the team, boys and girls, things like that. So there's a lot more detail they're asking on that.
Okay.
And, oh, so do you want me to talk about our October 17th and 18th really cool camp we're going to be putting on?
Yeah, let me preface this first.
Okay.
So remember I was talking about volunteering earlier, folks. So one of the things that we need to do is we need to start developing people to replace ourselves. Specifically, many of you have heard this before. I will be here for 3 years and 6 months. In 3 years and 6 months, I'm going to step down, and somebody else is going to take over. And so when that happens, we need to have in place a cache of people who enjoy FIRST, who live and thrive FIRST, and are willing to step in to be those key volunteers. To do that, over the next couple of years, we're training lots and lots of people. One of the positions that we would really like to fill is the role of MC and game announcer. It is not as easy as it looks. It is not, and it's very important. The rituals and ceremonies of FIRST are an enormous part of why FIRST works. It's an enormous part of the community and the structure that the students grow to appreciate. And we are looking for people that are willing to be MCs and game announcers for all of our programs. And we feel that if we have a large cache of folks, then they can all go out and cover things like FIRST LEGO League and FIRST Tech Challenge and FRC. So in general, we're looking for people who are probably post-college. There are a few exceptions, and we'll probably be willing to entertain exceptional people. But the reality is that we're kind of looking for the front people to be sort of in the adult range. To go with that, Darren is now going to tell you all about this training that we've got coming up in October. Go ahead, Darren.
Okay, so here it is. So it's October 17th. The training is going to occur. We have probably one of the best MCs that FIRST has out there coming out here to help us with this training. So if you know of any mentor, parents, students of college age alumni that would fit within a game announcer, an MC position, please pass this information on to them. So October 17th is when we will be conducting the camp, and then on October 18th at the Girls' Generation is where we're going to finalize the MC list, because those folks will get the taste of being an MC and a game announcer during that particular competition at Girls' Gen on October 18th. So the details will be coming out the end of September for all of the teams. It will be posted on the FIRST WA website on the October 1st timeframe. So please get it out to your mentors, get it out to your college-age students. Oh, I forgot to tell you who the celebrity was. It's Blair. And we have confirmation that Blair will be here. So I'm really excited about that. So again, if you have any questions, email me at my email at Boeing there that you see, darren.m.g@boeing.com, and I can send you any more information I know. We're going to have our coordination meeting next week to kind of hopefully put together, solidify our inputs, and then we're going to have another meeting with Blair, and so we'll be really smart by October 1st timeframe. If you have any questions right off the top of your head, you can go ahead and type them in the box, and Kevin will answer them for you, or whatever. I can answer them tomorrow. But really looking forward to this. This camp does not guarantee whoever signs up to be an MC or a game announcer. This camp is going to define who the list of people are that will make it as game announcers and MCs. So I say if you think you want to do it, then apply.
All right. Thanks, Darren.
Yep.
Okay. With that, I think we've wound down. The training is the training open to Pacific Northwest? Actually, Aaron is asking if he can have somebody come out from who lives in California. If they're volunteering in the Pacific Northwest, we will definitely make room for them. If there's additional room left over, we could probably work somebody in. So you can look into that. All right. Again, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your attending.